Hey guys, it's Kelsey. I'm back with another scrapbooking process video, and we're back with Felicity Jane's Christmas goodies that I have. So I'm just going through kind of the scraps left over from the last page I did, and I'm going to try and get one more page from this collection. And then the rest of what's left in my Felicity Jane Christmas stuff will it'll probably just all go with my Christmas stash, unless it's something that's not Christmas specific that I think I could use with a different Felicity Jane collection. Then it'll probably go with my FJ stuff. There's a lot of like pinks and aquas in this Christmas collection. So not the paper so much, but like the ephemera. So that kind of stuff I think I might just put with my other Felicity Jane stuff, unless there's something Christmas specific written on it. But as far as the paper goes, I really want to try to get a bulk of what's left from this collection used up on this page. And because I didn't have a 12 by 12, I decided to just pull in a couple solids that I can build off of, just so I can really get the rest of the paper on here and not have to worry about a busy background to compete with it. So I decided just to go with white cardstock as my background, and I just did a skinny mat in red just so it kind of keeps with that Christmas theme. And then I also have that solid red to pull into these other layers. So you can see my background is white on red, and then I'm taking this kind of larger scrap that I used from the last page that has this green and white diagonal print on it. I'm going to use that to mat my two 4x6 photos that I just glued together, and I matted that in red as well. I did just pull in one of these vellum pieces of paper. This is like the minty green one that I thought was pretty close to the aqua in this collection, so that's why I kind of decided to pull that out. I'm really trying to use some of the aqua acetate pieces that I have that are Christmas themed, so I was hoping this vellum could kind of pull that in a little bit. And that piece of vellum is from Karen. So I like that, and I'm just going to build out from here with some of the scraps I have. So just getting it all trimmed up. I like how the red is around the outside of the page, and then it's also around my photos. This red kind of gives me a little bit of trouble as I get going, because a lot of these scraps I have left over have it a lot deeper of a red. So it's really kind of messing with me having this deep red and this bright red on the same page. So you'll kind of see how I deal with that. I kind of took Chamel's motto, whereas if you have two colors close together, just keep adding to it. And usually at a certain point when you have enough reds together, they look like they don't need to match. So that is my goal. Right now we're looking okay because I haven't introduced that deeper red, but you'll see what I mean when I try to use that red polka dot to the left there. It just really doesn't go. Thankfully, Felicity Jane's papers are double-sided, so I do end up using the other side of that polka dot, which is nice. But I really wanted to get this floral on here, which has some holly, and again, it has that deeper red in it that was kind of messing with me. But I think this is such a pretty Christmas paper, and I had such a large scrap of it left. I really wanted to use that bit. And here you can see this polka dot. It's just not working with that red. That's too much of that deep red with this brighter red. It's just very clear that it doesn't go together. So I'll let it sit for a little bit before I realize that I can use the back side of that paper. And right now I'm just layering up all the scraps I have. I'm not really looking design-wise. I'm just trying to see how all the scraps I have look together to evaluate kind of how I'm going to address the different colored reds. And then I did go through my ephemera a little bit. I really want to try and get a good chunk of the acetate that I have in my stash used up on this page. So I'm trying to be strategic about where I want to have those, just so it's readable. Acetate, as you know, is clear, so if you have a pattern or a dark color behind it, you're not really going to be able to see what the acetate is. So I'm trying to be strategic. That was another reason I went with the white background, because I'm hoping if I have a little ephemera cluster with the acetate over the white background, you'll be able to see everything. So I'm just trying to work that into my design. But this is where I flip over that red polka dot. I realized the back of it is a black and white plaid, so I figured that can go just as well because there's black elements in the floral too. And since I am doing that black, I'm going to ink a couple things in black. I don't ink everything in black, but I just want there to be enough things inked in black to where this black layer doesn't look out of place. So I'm just trying to play with that. But I like how this kind of design is coming. I like having this floral be along like a larger vertical layer. So I'm going to go ahead and ink that in black and get that glued down. And I'm thinking this black and white plaid layered with the green solid would be a nice horizontal element to run on either side of these photos. So you'll see me kind of cut that in half and stretch that behind the group of photos to kind of look longer. But first I liked where this floral was sitting, so I was trying to just make sure I got that down before I moved it too much. But here are these two bits. I'm going to go ahead and ink both of those in black and layer them pretty much how I had them, but that's going to come out of the left side. That's just trying to cover that gap of that floral, since I kind of had to cheat a little bit to make that piece look longer than it is. So just covering that gap, and then the photo cluster kind of covers the rest of the gap, so I don't have to worry about it. I definitely could have gutted a little bit more on this page if I wanted to, but I knew this was the last page I was doing with this collection, so I wasn't too worried about getting these papers used up. I do have a little bit left over from this Felicity Jane stuff I'll just put with the rest of my Christmas stuff, so you might see it when I use my other Christmas stuff this month, but I was pleased I got another collection or another layout out of my Felicity Jane goodies, because I really thought that last one I did would be the only one I could make this month using my Felicity Jane stuff, so that was exciting. I also did go through my stash. I pulled in all my Christmas stuff that friends had sent me, but I did remember kind of partway through this process when I was looking for ephemera that I actually did have some leftover Christmas stuff in my stash, so you'll see me pull that in. The two other collections that I have to work with this month are a really different style. I have Simple Stories. I think it's, what's that Christmas collection called? It's Country Christmas, and it's just more of a vintagey tone, and Felicity Jane is so bright and clean that I really didn't want to mix that aesthetic. So I did find some ephemera in my stash that kind of are more of that brighter, clean look to go with my Felicity Jane stuff. But I like that layout, and you just saw I took a scrap of that same green and flipped it to the lighter green side and just did a nice border punch on that. I just wanted a little bit more detail and color down the side of the page there. So I think that looks nice. And I think I'm going to try and start playing around with my ephemera here. You can see all of those acetate pieces that I'm trying to cluster together. I have this house with the word home and a little red banner. This stuff I wasn't too worried about using this month because I thought I could kind of de-kit it and just put it with my Felicity Jane stuff and use it for a non-Christmassy layout. But as I was looking at it, this really cute house has a wreath on the door that really does read Christmas, so I really wanted to use it since this is the last Felicity Jane Christmas page I'm doing. So I'm just messing with all of this stuff to try to cluster it. I really like the aqua heart because it kind of plays off of the aqua house, and this red banner that says memories that kind of plays off of the red banner by the house. So I'm just trying to get these into two clusters. I really wanted to keep it on the white background just so you could really see it, but I didn't like how all the ephemera was on the right open sides of the page. I really wanted it to frame my photo better, so I do end up moving the memories banner and the heart scripty word over this left-hand photo, just so they kind of frame my photo a little bit on the diagonal. You can read it fine, but it does look a little busy going over this floral, so you'll see what I mean when I move this a little bit. But I really wanted to document these photos. I guess I should kind of explain what these photos are about. So Lisa, which is one of my good scrappy friends, she sent me a really sweet Christmas present this past year, and she sent me and Marcus and Billy this little customized ornament that kind of has me, Marcus, and Billy in it. So that right-hand photo, you can kind of see in the background the Christmas tree, and you can see that ornament hanging up, and then Billy's just looking at that ornament. So I thought that was a really sweet photo to kind of document that. But she also had this kind of option too that she sent me a picture of. She ended up going with this photo, but she still sent me the photo so I could scrapbook it, which I thought was really sweet. But it's just me and Marcus in kind of this really sweet cartoon form that's the same style as the ornament. So I really wanted to document both of these because I thought that was so sweet. And this is the first year that Marcus and I got a customized ornament with our name on it, so that's nice. Marcus doesn't really have any Christmas ornaments, so we usually just decorate the tree with generic ornaments or my ornaments. So it's nice that he's got some on the tree now that has him on it. So that was really nice. I definitely wanted to document that. but that's kind of the story and why I wanted to make sure to get these on a page. But I'm happy with the placement of these acetate pieces on the bottom, so I went ahead and glued them down, and this is where you can see I shifted that one over to the left. This top-down view, it is kind of hard to read, but in person you can read that pretty easily. It's not as easy to read as if it was on white, but like I said, I really wanted my cluster over there and not, you know, in the upper right-hand corner. I think it made the page unbalanced having all of the embellishment down the right side of the page. So I'm going to go ahead and commit, and I'm going to glue that down. I get a little bit stuck here because I do like how those look, but I just wish there was more embellishment, and this is where I go through my stash and kind of find some other Christmas stuff I forgot about. So I'm going to go through this stuff right here and try and find a couple more things I can finish out this page with. I end up going with pretty much the ornaments. There's a peppermint, a present, and 2 ornaments that I kind of use to enhance these clusters and fill them out a little bit. And I really like that because, again, it kind of adds a red that has a bright and a darker tone, so it kind of marries the 2 reds on this page together, which I like. I think the red doesn't look so distracting now that there's more of it. So I'm going to go ahead and get that stuff glued down, but I think that kind of finishes out a little bit more, at least. It's still a pretty clean, simple page, but again, it's Felicity Jane, so I kind of like them to be a little bit more clean. I definitely want to do a title and a little bit of journaling just to kind of document that Lisa sent these to me and what they are, so I don't forget down the road. So I'll get to that too, but I just wanted to make sure I felt happy with the embellishment before I continued. There we go. I thought about having one more ornament on here, but I changed my mind, so that ornament does not stay. But I do find my freckled fawn red tile alphas, so those are going to go on the page. I'm just going to title it Thank You, Lisa, because I thought that was a nice little thank you to her, and that pretty much kind of already explains that these things are from Lisa. And then I'll just do a little bit of journaling down one of the sides of the layers that says we received the sweetest Christmas gift of a customized ornament with Billy, Marcus, and I on it. So sweet, with some hearts. And that's pretty much it. So this is a pretty simple page, but I'm really happy I got more Felicity Jane stuff done and kind of finished out the Christmas stuff. I definitely still have some, you can see all that stuff to the left there. I definitely still have some ephemera from Felicity Jane Christmas that hopefully I'll get to use more of this month. But paper-wise, I'm really glad I got through that collection, and I'm really glad I got 2 pages out of that collection because, like I said, I really only thought I had enough left for one. But I think the next couple pages I'm going to be playing with the Country Christmas collection that Nicole sent me, which I'm excited about. So that'll be a whole different kind of aesthetic, which will be cool. So I think I'm almost done with my title here. I'm just using my little forceps to line everything up how I want. But again, that's a deeper red that kind of goes with the red from the Felicity Jane collection. So I'm glad that's represented a little bit more now too. There we go. And then now I'm just going to do my journaling down the side of that layer there. And we're pretty much done after that. So you'll see the close-ups here in a minute. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.